Finally, Tottenham get a deserving, commanding win against Brentford, beating them 3-1 in the Premier League thanks to goals from Dominic Solanke, his first in a Tottenham shirt, goal from Brennan Johnson, making it 2 in 2 games for the young Welsh winger, shutting up all of the haters along the way, and James Maddison finally getting his first goal of the season, taking his shirt off in celebration and just looking relieved. And there was so much to like about today's performance. From the very start, I think it was one of those weird games and weird moments where Brentford just took their chance so well early on. In the first 20 seconds of the game even, Bryan Mbeumo with, to be honest, what can only be described as an outstanding finish. You could argue that Tottenham maybe didn't close the ball down well enough, or they weren't on it from the very start. They weren't sharp or alert enough to close down and stop the ball coming into the box in the first place. But to be totally honest with you, that can happen in football, and it was a brilliant finish, a brilliant goal. Brentford did it against Manchester City, the exact same thing last week. They did it against us, but the main thing for me was the response and the way that Tottenham bounced back. The atmosphere inside the stadium after going 1-0 down could have gone so flat, and it could have got a little bit toxic and a little bit negative, but it didn't. The players were fully feeling the support of the fans. The fans got behind the players after the goal. They weren't getting on their backs. They were supporting them. There was still 89 minutes of that game to go, and I think the fans really helped the players turn that game around today, because those of us that have been to that stadium, we know that it can get a little bit tense in there sometimes. It can be a little bit of an iffy atmosphere if we're not playing well or performing well, but I actually think Tottenham played really well today, albeit the game could have ended up 5-6, 7-1 even if we'd taken all of the chances that we had. But there were some standout individual performances. James Maddison, for me, he deserves the first shout out, because he was on another level to everyone else on that pitch today. He was excellent. His passing, his movement, his gameplay, his playmaking abilities all over the pitch was just really good. And I'm so delighted for him to get that first goal of the season, like I was for Brennan Johnson against Coventry on Wednesday night in the Carabao Cup. Maddison has deserved that goal. And again, like I said, with the Johnson scenario, I really hope that helps him kick on and elevate his game and keep that consistency going forward for the rest of the game. Now, another player that I do want to also praise for their performance today was Bentancur. He was, again, really good. He had a really good game against Coventry for what it's worth. He was one of the few, perhaps, players that we thought played quite well against Coventry. And today, again, in the absence of Basuma until he came off the bench, having recovered from that injury, Bentancur was a superb, dominant presence in the middle of the park. I think Heung-min Son didn't even have his best game today, but what did he come up with? 2 assists, 7 touches in the opposition box, but he was clinical, he was lethal, and he was quality when it mattered. And that is what we have been lacking. That is what Tottenham have been lacking so far this season, is just that little bit of quality in the final third. It is so refreshing to see us actually having a lot of big chances today. The problem for Tottenham so far this season has usually been that we can't pick out or find our men in the box. But today we did that. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of a net when we got into those opportunities, or the goalkeeper made a couple of really good saves. Dominic Solanke finally getting off the mark in a Tottenham shirt. Again, so happy for him, and that, puts aside, I can't remember, I think it might have been Vincent Janssen or Roberto Soldado, who just didn't score for ages and ages when they first joined Tottenham, and it ended up becoming sort of the main narrative within the team. And glad Solanke is on the score sheet. I think he played well, he pressed really well, his energy was excellent against Brentford, and hopefully we see more of that to come, because we're going to need him over the next few weeks. Ange Postecoglou, I think a big slap in the face to everybody who has been calling for his head over the last couple of days. Even after the win today, I've still seen some people on social media saying that they still want to get rid of Ange, they still think he should go, but he tweaked a lot today. He tweaked a lot. The fullbacks weren't inverting as much today. I've seen a lot of people saying that the wingers need to the fullbacks rather need to stay wider and occupy those wider spaces today, and I actually think they did that today, Pedro Porro and Destiny Udogie. And what that then did is it pushed the likes of Heung-min Son and Brennan Johnson further inside, and Sonny was almost playing as a second striker today. So having those fullbacks in the wider areas and not inverting them against Brentford, it's a tactical change, and it worked today. It really worked. Kulusevski and Maddison playing in those 2 number 10 roles today. I don't think it was Kulusevski's best game, but again, the energy and the levels that he brought to the team was something that we severely missed in the win against Coventry in midweek. So all around, I think it was a much improved and a marked improvement on the performance that we saw in that Carabao Cup game. And for me, it was so important because you go 1-0 down at home to Brentford. If you lose that game, boy, things turn toxic. Things turn really toxic. Ange is probably the most, or one of the most under fire managers if we lose that game today. And I know we said it was a must-win game on Wednesday against Coventry, but today was a must-win game as well. You have to win your home games against the likes of Brentford and those other teams that you're expected to beat, that you are the favourites against. Obviously, the Arsenal result was disappointing, but we all knew going into that game that Arsenal could come to our stadium and they could beat us if they were on it. And they weren't necessarily on it, but they did still beat us. Brentford, there should be no excuses. And luckily, we got over the line. It was a little bit nervy sitting at 2-1 for ages. Brentford had a couple of opportunities. Vicario had a couple of wobbly moments, like that handball outside of the area. I don't know how the referee's not spotted that because he was miles outside the area. But hey ho, we will take it and we will live to fight another day. I don't think Destiny Udogie had his best game today. I don't actually think Pedro Porro had his best game today. Maybe heightening that argument that Jed Spence needs more minutes. Mickey van der Ven and Romero, I thought they were excellent, as they usually are, in centre-back today. And yeah, all around, really happy. We saw a lot of youngsters come onto the pitch at the end. I think Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, Mikey Moore, and I think it was one other, but I can't remember, came on for the last few minutes. So it's good to see them getting trusted to see and close the game out with a 2-goal lead. So yeah, look, I'm just happy today. I'm just happy. The team won, we put in a good performance, and we can all sit here tonight and watch Match of the Day and enjoy it, watch it back, knowing that we have 3 points in the bag and we can now prepare for that first Europa League game against Carabao, which I'm really excited for. I am going to be going to that one and putting a vlog together, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see it. But yeah, please feel free to let me know what your thoughts are on the game today in the comments. As you can see, I'm really happy about it. I didn't put a video out after the Coventry game because I probably would have said some bad stuff and I didn't want to. So I left it and I did a live stream the day after instead to break it down. But this game, much better, much more comfortable. Still a lot of stuff to work on, which is absolutely fine. If we're picking up points, playing well, but there's still stuff to work on, that's absolutely fine. It's a big test, I think, against Manchester United away next weekend. But let's get that Carabao Cup. Let's get that Europa League game against Carabao out of the way. Let's win that, make it 3 wins on the bounce, and all of a sudden, we have a bit of momentum going into the rest of the season. So yeah, happy days for Tottenham today, happy days for Ange Postecoglou, happy days for Dominic Solanke and James Maddison, and we move on. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It helps me so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Look out for me on The Last Word on Spurs on Sunday night as we look ahead to the Europa League bout on Thursday. And as always, come on you Spurs.